each gelatin troche, we would need 0.01 grams of silica gel, 0.0087 grams of stevia side, 0.0165 grams of acacia, and 0.0192 ml flavoring of choice. We would also need the gelatin base. However, to know how much of that base we need, we have to do a calculation. So the amount of gelatin base required for each individual troche is 1.144 grams. However, we have to account for the displacement contributed by the added powders and liquids. And so to calculate that, we would need to take the total, which is 1.144, and subtract from that 90% of the added powders, which is silica gel plus stevia side plus acacia, and then subtract from that 100% of liquids, which is just the flavoring in this case. And this would give us the amount of gelatin base for each troche. We're doing 24 troches in this preparation, so we multiply every number in here by 24. And to account for waste, we multiply every number in here by 1.1. We do the same thing for the stevia side, acacia flavoring, and the gelatin base as well. To continue our calculation portion for the displacement, we add all the three powders together, which is the silica gel plus stevia side plus acacia, and then we take 90% of that number. To know how much of the gelatin base we need to weigh out, we take the total amount disregarding the displacement, which is 30.2016 grams, and then we subtract from that 90% of the added powders, which is the three numbers up front that we added and took 90% off, and then subtract from that 100% of liquids, which is just the flavoring, and it's 100%, so it's the actual number, and this would give us approximately 28.8 grams, and this would be the amount we need to weigh out for our preparation.
For today's lab, we'll be using the PCCA gelatin as our base, and it gives the troches a gummy texture. The silica gel will provide our suspending agent. The acacia is our binding agent. The crystalline powder artificial sweetener we'll use in place of the stevia side. And then today's flavor will be Tutti Frutti to flavor the troches.
Lab number 1, we need 2 beakers, a 500 and a 200 ml to place and melt the mixture in. A balance to weigh the powders, which are silica gel, stevia side, and acacia, and the gelatin base as well. A mortar and a pestle to triturate the powders together. A hot plate to help create a water bath to melt the mixture together in. A sifter to sift the powders into the melted gelatin base. A mold to shape the gelatin troches. And a spatula to remove the excess of the mixture from the mold.
After successfully triturating my powders, I moved the mixture to a weigh boat for ease of sifting. Sift these powders into the gelatin and then stir until they are evenly dispersed. Successfully mixed in your powders, you're going to add your favorite flavoring to enhance the flavor of the gummies. Only a few drops are needed. After you've added your flavoring and stirred thoroughly, remove your mixture from the water bath and pour into the mold. To help spread the mixture evenly into the mold, you will want to heat a spatula. Do this by placing it under the beaker full of water and letting it sit while you pour out of the beaker into the mold.
For each polyglycol troche, we would need 0.0192 ml flavoring of choice and the polyglycol troche base. To know how much of that we would need, we would calculate that the same way we did for the gelatin base by displacement, except that in here the amount of each individual troche is 1.025 grams. Once more, we're doing 24 troches, so we'll multiply every number in here by 24, and to account for waste, we multiply every number in here by 1.1. To know how much of the polyglycol troche base we need, we take the total amount disregarding the displacement, which is 27.06 grams, subtract from that 90% of powders, which is 0 since we don't have any powders in this preparation, and then subtract from that 100% of liquids, which is just the flavoring, and it's 100%, so it's the actual number, and this would give us approximately 26.5 grams, and this would be the amount we need to weigh out for our preparation.
For the second part of today's lab, we will be using the PCCA polyglycol troche base for the hard candy-like base of these troches. We'll also be using blue food coloring to make them more aesthetically pleasing, and blueberry flavor to make them more palatable and to hide the flavor of our active ingredient if we were to use one today. We will not be using the silica gel since we have no active ingredient. There will be no use for a suspending agent.
So for lab number 2, we need a 500 ml beaker to place and dissolve the mixture in, a spin bar to stir the base to help it dissolve, a balance to weigh the base, an oil spray to help prevent the polyglycol troches from sticking to the mold, a hot plate to help create a water bath to melt the mixture together, and a mold to help shape the polyglycol troches.
To keep the hard base from sticking in this lab, we're going to spray our mold with pan, and you're going to set it aside to drain while you complete the rest of the steps. Okay, for the next step in this lab, you're going to set your beaker onto your hot plate, and then we have pre-measured out 26.5 grams of our PCCA polyglycol troche base. You're going to add that along with your stir bar down into your beaker. And then you're going to set the temperature to 75 degrees Celsius and also turn on the stirring function in order for this to melt. Alrighty, so now that our base is fully melted, we're going to go ahead and add our flavor. We're going to add 0.51 milliliters of our flavoring, which we chose a blueberry. Go ahead and put that in and let that stir. Okay, to go along with our flavor, we're going to go ahead and add some blue food coloring as well. This is just to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Just a couple drops should do it. After removing your magnetic stir bar and turning off your hot plate, you're going to go ahead and grab your mold that we used at the beginning after spraying it with pan. And we're going to slowly add in
So your medication is ready.
Okay.
I have here gelatin troches and the polyglycol troches. Those are his cough suppressants. He should take one every day. Even though they taste like candy, make sure he doesn't take more than prescribed. And then for the polyglycol troches, those are the pain relievers. So he dissolves one in his mouth every day. Make sure he doesn't swallow them or chew them. And that's it. Do you have any more questions?
What else could we use these for? He really likes them.
They can basically be used for anything. We can saturate any active ingredient in those, and it can work for any medication.
Okay, you said just dissolve one in the mouth, don't chew it or swallow it?
No.
Okay. Alright, thank you.